Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've found someone new to play with. Yes, the blog in question is called Apathy Kills, but who we're really talking about is this guy, Glenn Gordon. And oh, Gordon, you are going to be so much fun. So much fun. So, where to begin? Well, let's start with his take on the Oklahoma tornado and weather modification. Yes, because as conspiracy theorists continue to like to say, weather modification does exist, even though no scientist in the world will justify that claim, or even take that. Because what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at his so-called facts, which you can so-call, when people question you on this, you can use to sort of take out their batteries. But unfortunately, Gordon, you had no batteries to begin with, so me taking out yours is kind of pointless. So let's take a look at your facts, shall we? His first fact. Tell you what, let's do it like this. There has been a dramatic and substantial increase in erratic environmental and climate global devastation in just 10 years alone. Based on what? 10 years? What do you class as a catastrophe? We know global warming is real. We know it's affecting us. We can see the effects. We know that hurricanes happen in certain times of the season, hence why they are called hurricane seasons, hence why they are called tornado seasons, hence why there's a certain part in America called Tornado Alley, because tornadoes happen there on a regular basis. And this is the best thing. He just says, oh, yeah, dramatic rise in 10 years alone. What figures? What figures do you have to justify this? You don't post any, you've just made a statement and you haven't backed it up with any facts. It's absolutely ridiculous. Are you going to base it on the last 10 years? Last 20 years? The last 10 years compared to what? Since records began? That's just a fact. You've just made a statement and you haven't managed to back it up with any facts. So completely, that is not a fact. He goes on, his next fact. Weather modification is hardly new. Weather modification doesn't exist at all. So if anyone challenges it, first point them to 1977. And he's besides a little link, and guess what? This guy basically goes on to have a look at cloud seeding. We know what cloud seeding is. Believe it or not, you can make it rain, but it is still very temperamental. They don't do it because it's not cost effective enough to do. And then surprise them further. Ooh, who are we going on to next? And yes, by directing them towards Hungarian scientist Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, the guy who gets a load of things for things he didn't even do or say. Yet Nikola Tesla had nothing to do with any weather modification. And as believe it or not, even Jesse Ventura on his HARP program, they even got a scientist who basically made a little tornado inside a bell jar. Guess what he said on his follow-up to this? He said, yeah, you can sort of make a tornado, but you have to do it within controlled conditions, like in this little jar I've got here. You cannot basically go, tornado, and it appears. Unfortunately, magic like that doesn't exist. Anyway, his next fact. As integral to the globalist agenda, population reduction, they must, apparently, justify a reason for introducing a tax on air, or carbon tax. Again, this goes back to global warming. Companies produce pollute far too much. And this has a knock-on effect for the environment. This is why they are doing it. This doesn't affect any regular people whatsoever, because quite frankly we do not put out the same pollution as a major factory would do. Makes sense. And this is the next point. His next bullet point, I don't know how this even links in. Convince us that we are to blame, so we must be cold. Please say who is saying this. You know, who has said, "Oh yeah, we've got to, you know, kill off our population." I've looked for a quote to try and find something. Can't find any. And the quotes that I have found, you can't attribute them to the people at all. They're just basically someone saying, Bill Gates said this. Henry Kissinger said this. Guess what? Population is a problem. It is a problem. And overpopulation is a very big problem that we will be facing within probably a couple of years. Because guess what? What do you like to say? Population is on the rise. And has been since World War II. Shocking, I know, Gordon. Fact 3. Following a pattern. Let's rephrase this. Following Gordon's pattern of conspiracy theorists and jumping to conclusions and believing random bullshit, basically. Since the global economic crisis of 2008, a radical eugenics program has been implemented by design. Like what? Seriously, Gordon, like what? You don't have butt kiss to back this up. You've just said, they're killing people by design. Oh God, what design is this, Gordon? It doesn't exist. For example, a rise in right-wing extremism throughout Europe. That's not surprising because given when you look back at history, like I suspect you haven't, Gordon, you'll see similar occurrences of similar groups that do go on the rise during times because, believe it or not, idiots in those movements find it easier to attract people during these times, like Hitler did. And of course, taking away human rights, no one said that or even doing that. Taking away right to protest, no one's doing that. Yeah. Getting people to view... Hang on. With the sole aim of creating a culture that views people as a waste on resources. I'm just not going to bother because that's just ridiculous enough in itself. And apparently, this is already becoming socially acceptable in the UK. No, it isn't. Name me one group that finds it socially acceptable to just get rid of people because they're a waste on resources. You could basically say that's the entire unemployed population in the UK. Please, find me the people who are saying, let's get rid of these unimportant people. And just, kill them off because, they're not useful. No one's saying that. So, that's Gordon's facts. Quite easily destroyed. And quite frankly, Gordon, as I said, what batteries? Because quite frankly, Gordon, those didn't take my batteries out at all. So please try harder, Gordon. I'll be waiting with open arms. See you soon.